the Nimrud lens. Did Assyrians invent telescopes 3,000 years ago? According to some scholars, the ancient people of Assyria developed a unique lens for focusing light from distant objects. Telescopes, in the modern sense of the word, were first invented and employed for astronomical purposes by the famous Dutch mathematician and astronomer Galileo. He not only invented the telescope, but was also the first to apply it in astronomy. And although some claim that other people might have previously invented telescopes, we know there is no evidence of it, but is it true? We know that the ancient Greeks had telescope, hence the Antikythera device. Now, telescopes were perhaps invented and used in many ancient civilizations long before Galileo, but they were not widely used. The Layard lens, also known as the Nimrud lens, a 3,000-year-old rock crystal discovered at the Assyrian place, the palace of Nimrud in Iraq, could be a perfect proof of that. The lens of Nimrud is slightly oval and was probably ground on a lapidary wheel. Its focal length is about 12 centimeters and its focal point is about 11 centimeters, 4.5 inches from the flat side, equivalent to a 3 times magnifying glass. The Assyrians probably used it as a magnifying glass, a burning glass to start fires by concentrating sunlight, or as decorative inlay. 12 cavities were created in the lens surface during grinding, and they would have contained a trapped fluid, most likely naphtha or another liquid trapped in the raw crystal. And although some scientists believe that the ancient Assyrians used the Nimrud lens as part of a telescope to explain their sophisticated knowledge of astronomy, most other scientists argue that the optical quality of the lens does not appear to be adequate for viewing distant planets. The belief that the Nimrud lens was a telescopic lens arose from the fact that the ancient Assyrians saw Saturn as a god surrounded by rings of a serpent. Their interpretation of Saturn's rings may seem as seen through a low-quality telescope. In 1980, a group of archaeologists from the University of Chicago discovered the Nimrud lens while excavating the palace of Nimrud, an ancient Assyrian city in Iraq. They found the lens buried among other pieces of broken glass of similar appearance, which resembled enamel from a disintegrated object, possibly wood or ivory. The telescope is on display in Case 9 of the Lower Mesopotamian Gallery, Room 55 of the British Museum, in London, of course. Nimrud lens existence proves one thing for sure: Galileo did not invent the first telescope. The second lens, possibly dating to the 5th century BC, was discovered in a sacred cave on Mount Ida in Crete of Greece, ancient Greece. It was of higher quality and more powerful than the Nimrud lens. Pompeii, an ancient city near Naples, Italy, was buried by the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD. Pliny and Seneca, ancient Roman writers, described a lens used by an engraver in Pompeii to say you could find a number of clues and evidence that suggest telescopes were invented and used in ancient civilizations long before Galileo. The Assyrians were conquered by the Persian Empire in the 6th century BC, after which they adopted Persian culture and practices. The Assyrian people are believed to have been the first to study astronomy systematically as early as the 7th century BC. They used their knowledge of geometry, arithmetic, and astronomy, combined with a passion for observation, to build one of the greatest civilizations that ever existed. Therefore, tools like Nimrud lens might be used by ancient Assyrians to observe stars and record information about them, an early example of what could be considered science rather than just superstition or magic. And according to some scholars, the ancient people of Assyria developed a unique lens for focusing light from distant objects so that it could appear large enough to see clearly. The result was an optical device known as the astronomical double grape stalk, or as we know today, the world's first telescope. And this is on Collective Spark by Inhale Ancient Mysteries. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.